Hi, my name is Loretta, or Trinity6, and this is my channel, The Limitless Infinite, a space for you to align your mind to higher vibrations and higher frequencies. I am making this video today in correlation to the last couple videos I made, the first one being, I think it should be called Science of Spirituality Explained. And in that video, I discuss this really important idea. It's actually a program that we've been programmed with since we were kids, which is that energy can't be created or destroyed. And within that piece of information is that that state of energy is in this state of absolute perfection because it's never being created and it's never being destroyed. And then I made a follow-up video about how to be a conscious creator. And that video is about how when we use that energy that's in that state of perfection, how we create with it or how we make magic with that is that we qualify this energy either positively or negatively. And when we do that, and it includes our level of intention and a lot of other things, but when we qualify this energy, which is when we create, when we do anything, we basically are, it's almost like choosing a vibration for this energy to be. Now, I kind of imagine that this energy is sort of this energy in this state of perfection has the ability, like I said, if you qualify it negatively, then what happens is this energy is very low vibration, low frequency. And if we qualify this energy positively, like with a lot of love, then it becomes very high vibration, high frequency. And so this is how we create. So it's just important to know there is this sort of state of your own energy that's always in the state of absolute perfection. And then we can choose how to create differently with that. And our intention and the feelings that we sort of put into the energy when we create things will decide the vibration and frequency. And then I made another video after that. It's called Releasing Your Resonance with Discordant Energies. And the reason I say that is because we all, people, as part of our life experience, we encounter people or we have moments as people where we qualify the energy that we're creating with in a negative manner. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are negatively polarized or positively polarized. The polarization that you have actually really has nothing to do with how you're qualifying this energy as a creator. That really doesn't matter. You could be either way. But when we create, this is how we kind of put our own energy into this energy in this state of perfection. But when you decide to put negatively qualified energy out, what happens is that this energy we sense as discordance. And I say that because we know that low vibration and low frequency energies are the ones that make us feel not good, basically not well. It brings our well-being out of that state of wellness. And it's, frustration, anger, resentment, hate, any of these low vibrations and low frequencies, but it can also be things, I think, too, that can be like more benign, so to speak, like even just stress or things like that. And that's one that's more like, I shouldn't say stress because it's not, that one's not necessarily always self-projected. Sometimes stress is just us picking up the projections of others. But like I said in the beginning, like hate, frustration, anger, these types of projections, when we qualify this energy negatively and we are creating with these kinds of low vibrations, people sense that as discordance. And you yourself know that this is discordant. So any human that is able to be self-aware can understand what these type of discordant energies are. And discordant energies are really just these low vibrations and low frequencies. And in the video, Releasing Your Resonance with, discordant vibrations or low vibrations, it's really about understanding that anytime that you sense an energy as discordant, that part of your being, that part of your consciousness, which makes that is aware of this other state, this other energy which you don't like, this is the part of you that exists as a higher vibration and higher frequency. And I thought that was really important information to get out because that is the part of you that is able to transmute this energy into something else. And when we are self-aware of that, like if something happens to me and someone yells at me and I go, you know what this is? This is someone else is projecting their low vibration and low frequency into my experience. And I sense this as discordance. Or even if it's something that I do myself, I sense this as discordance. And I say, hey, wait a minute. If I'm sensing this as a discordant, I have to be that higher vibration and higher frequency energy, which means that, you know, at our core, like, you know, in our heart, we are really this other higher vibration. There's always that part of our conscious awareness that can sense discordances. And so when we realize that, you can start to fully understand that we are not ever discordant energies. Discordant energies are something that we sense, which then allows you to integrate the knowing that low vibrations and low frequencies are not our natural state. That's why when you say you're in a state of well-being, it's when you're feeling, it could be a range of different frequencies, but you're feeling anything but these discordant vibrations and discordant energies. And so everybody's at a different level, at a different vibration. So what is discordant to you is going to be different than discordant to somebody else. But if there's a part of you that senses discordance, or understands what discordance is, if you're projecting discordant energies, then you can realize that you actually exist as this higher frequency being. And I just wanted to kind of put that information together, because when it happens to me and I'm sensing discordance, like for some people out there that watch this video, you're going to understand that there are different levels of awareness in your awakening, where you might be getting interferences or just lots of different communications and messages. And part of that is there's going to be a lot of other vibrations that are resonating around. Like I've heard people say, you know, that the fourth dimension has this whole density that is just like a lot of negativity, a lot of our collective discordance as a species. And so when we start, you know, interacting with that dimension as we try to ascend into the fifth dimension, we're passing through that field. And what happens is we need to remember not to resonate, you know, when you give your attention to these discordant energies, then you resonate and you're not fully self-aware of your own state of being. You're not really bringing to this, you know, you're not really connecting fully with that part of you that is that higher vibration and higher frequency. And then the resonance can allow you to be like people feel consumed sometimes by negative things, and it's not consumption at all. It's just the resonance that you're allowing to happen. But in these other dimensions, when you're doing this other work and you're encountering these other beings, you know, there's a number of different ways to do it. But I've had interactions with people and other energies, and I've literally had to do this work with some of them that is kind of like going through this series of figuring out where the discordance is. And I think even just for you, if you're connecting with yourself and parts of your own soul, you can understand that there's parts of yourself and parts of your soul that might be in a state of discordance or might have created a discordance. And when you question yourself and you go through this, okay, what is the source of this discordance? Well, this happened, you know, somebody did this to me. Well, that's their projection. And then what is their discordance? And so on and so forth. You'll find that when you do your own self-questioning, I think you get to a point, there's a point at which you might find, okay, this is the time to use one of the other tools that I have, which is forgiveness. And now with some people, they're going to be at a level of asking for forgiveness or giving forgiveness. But as I've talked about in previous videos, which I will post again, using the law of forgiveness is a tool that we can use, which takes our own awareness of deciding who is worthy of forgiveness out of it. It just decides that it's like a tool that you're using to transmute these energies. So sometimes you get to a point where you realize, oh, okay, like I can do this with myself, and I have this part of my soul that feels discordance with something, and I have to say, you know, is there a forgiveness that I need to forgive myself? Is there a forgiveness that I need to direct to somebody else, because the discordance in me is actually just the projection that I tried to put on somebody else in, you know, this lifetime or some past lifetime or whatever it is. So you basically, you know, can go through all of these things. Like, I think the most important to do it in the third dimension, and to just be fully self-aware when you're in your third dimensional life and you're having physical interactions with people, that when these types of discordances come up and people are trying to get you to resonate, because some people basically, you have to also remember that when you're dealing with someone who's projecting a low vibration at you, someone who's angry all the time, it's them not being fully self-aware of their own truth. So anybody that's in a state of discordance, this is probably the most important. Anybody that's in a state of discordance who is either projecting that out or just kind of resonating with their own discordance is someone who has yet to realize their own truth, which is that their inner being, you know, they have this level of their own consciousness, which is recognizing this discordant state. And some people who are more advanced or more easily able to recognize that in others have the ability to start helping heal other people by sharing this kind of information, by understanding that as you have your experience, if somebody is projecting low vibration at you and is a kind of projection where they want you to just resonate with it because that's how they're resonating, you have to remember that somewhere inside that person, that being, no matter what kind of being they are, they also exist as this higher consciousness that is the one that says, hey, this is discordant energy. And so if you really ask that person, if someone was projecting at you and you could have a real conversation with them and you said, okay, do you recognize that the energy you're projecting at me, this anger, this hate, this animosity, that is discordant energy? And if that person can say yes, which most conscious self-aware people will say yes, then that's the moment when you say to them, well, you actually exist as a higher vibration and higher frequency, as this discordance that you're sending to me. And what it is it's the self-realization when people can finally make that connection, like, yeah, I've been angry for years about this thing. And it's not saying that that wasn't real or somehow you don't just like, oh, don't feel that vibration. It's like, that's part of your experience, but also understand that in this experience, you have this other connection, this higher vibration and this higher frequency. And when you start to make that connection and you go, whoa, okay, I'm feeling this anger about this thing and I've felt about it for years, but you're right. There's a part of me that actually has to be able to recognize that as discordant, that angry at you for this is discordant. And that part of me, whoa, is this higher vibration and higher frequency. And as soon as you make that self-realization, what happens is you start to raise your own vibration. And I shouldn't say raise, but so much you are connecting with this higher vibration of yourself. And when you do that, you can see the resonance with this lower vibration that you had been resonating with. It starts to become dissolved. Your resonance basically, there's this low vibration, something happened to you, you're angry about it, you've been engaging with it, you're resonating, then someone makes you self-aware, hey, you have this higher vibration, higher energy, and you go, yo, hey, you're right, I recognize that this anger is discordant. That puts you up here, all of a sudden you're not resonating. It makes it much easier to let go, like I put in the video, releasing your resonance with energies. If you bring your awareness to this other part that's in you, that is part of you, then you're not resonating with this lower vibration anymore, and it makes it easier to let it go. Now, some things, small things, you might be able to just release, but some things you might realize, okay, even though I understand I'm this higher vibration, higher frequency, I need to call in this law of forgiveness, either for the person that did this, that is in their own resonant state of discordance, or I need to do this for myself for resonating with this low vibration. Maybe you have forgiveness for yourself for not, for projecting out more of this low vibration and low frequency because you had resonated with it so long. I mean, there's, your journey's individual and what level you need to use a tool like that versus just bringing your own self-awareness to your different levels of frequency and vibration is going to be very personal and up to you, and you are going to have to decide whether you need it. But I would say if you're, if you comprehend on a intellectual level that you're high vibration and higher frequency, but you're having a hard time like truly letting go, like you keep feeling like your attention is being brought back to this low vibration and low frequency, that's when I would recommend trying to use a tool like forgiveness. And like I said, you might have certain kinds of religious or spiritual beliefs where you want to ask someone for forgiveness, or you want to give forgiveness to somebody, and if that's part of your choice, fine. Whatever you need to do to heal. And then for some people, they can use something like the tool, like the law of forgiveness, which will transmute that energy for you. So it's just really important to always call back to that inner part of you whenever you're feeling discordant. And as part of really important spiritual healing for this year, especially, it's a new year. it's my birthday today, so I just want to get this information out. I thought it was really good that you want to be able to use this tool in your life for this lifetime. If you have karma and trauma from past lifetimes, you can use it there too, and we can really start to clear the energy. And what happens is when we start not resonating with this discordant energy, and we allow more and more people to realize that you actually are that higher vibration, higher frequency, then what's going to happen is that sort of resonance that's in the fourth dimension, that heaviness that sometimes people talk about just from our collective shadow, is going to start being released, or if we're not resonating with that, we're not resonating with each other on these low vibrations, and we're just connecting with our true state of being, our natural state, then we'll be able to actually raise that vibration. And that's really what's going to be sort of like bringing Earth and her inhabitants into the fifth dimension, is getting to that level of awareness where we can start to let it go. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and a lot of people just have to basically get this information so that they can take, like I said before, that piece of information. So the part of you like that I'm thinking, like when I say, okay, I'm actually the higher vibration, higher frequency that is recognizing that discordance, that's the part in me that I sense is that energy that's in a state of absolute perfection. That state of me is always existent in that state, and it's always in that state of perfection. And I like to connect to that. To me, I almost imagine that that's like the true center of my heart center. That's the center of my being. That's where I connect to different parts of myself, but that within this physical body, that's like the highest point of my vibration is there. That's my point of connection. And I think that that's just, super important that you understand that nobody can take you out of that state if you're really self-aware of it. If you're really self-aware and you understand on a energetic level the concept that no one can create that energy for you, but no one can destroy that energy for you, that it's just that energy is there for you. There's that frequency and vibration that's always there. And that the gift of the creator, so it's kind of like that energy's there, but the gift of the creator, the gift that we are, is that we can use that energy in so many different ways that we can, like I said, we can raise that vibration and frequency, or we can lower it, and it comes in such a multitude of different ways that's really what creation is. But at its base is always this state of perfection, and that's always the energy that you can call back to as part of your healing process. And then to just know that when you get to that state, and then you get to that neutral part of yourself that is not that discordant, then from there, when you start not resonating with these lower frequencies and understanding that you're not these other vibrations, then it makes it a little bit easier for you to create with more positively charged energy that is in really high vibration with lots of love and bliss and joy and all those kinds of things, because you're letting go of the lower vibrations and lower frequencies. So anyway, I hope everybody had a great New Year's. I just want to make this video and get it out today. It goes along with the videos that I've been releasing, so hopefully if you haven't seen them, please check them out. Definitely the most important would be the Spirituality is Science Explained. It's a good place to start if you haven't watched that one. And then there's other videos before that too that will correlate, like instantly transmute discordant energies. I mean, there's a number of them. Check them out if you want to. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, or feel free to shoot me an email, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.